Perhaps the most important function your journal performs lies in the area of communications. First and foremost, your journal gives you a chance to talk to yourself and to hear what you are saying about your life, your future, your relationships, and your goals. As you begin to develop the habit of writing down your problems, recording your observations, emotions, and reactions to life's events, you will undoubtedly find yourself both posing and responding to a whole new set of questions about your past, present, and future. Why did I say that? Why does he always make me feel that way? If I follow this course, where will I be 5 years from now? As you begin to both ask and answer yourself on paper, you will be amazed at the incredible leaps in personal understanding and self-awareness you will experience. And remember, any positive change which occurs within you will ultimately manifest itself in a positive result outside of you, in your social or professional world, your attitude, your bank account, your habits, and even your appearance. We stand forever exposed to life and to the endless variations that make up the human drama. Our task as human beings is twofold. First, we must effectively translate what is going on around us into terms we can comprehend. And second, we must effectively express what is going on within us into terms the rest of the world can understand. Despite the major technological advances enabling us to communicate globally and perhaps even extraterrestrially, I would suggest that while our means of communication has greatly improved, we are still living in the dark ages when it comes to saying what we mean and understanding the meaning of what is being said. As William James wisely observed, the most immutable barrier in nature is between one man's thoughts and another's. As much as we live together, work together, try together, grow together, discover together, explore together, and even pray together, man is truly an island unto himself, cut off from other human islands by the deep channels of non-communication. Writing in your journal is one of the best ways I know of to develop more effective communication skills. As you become better at describing life to yourself, you will find that you become better at describing yourself to life. Put into more practical terms, as you become better at saying what you really want and how you really feel to yourself, you will be able to better express yourself and your feelings to others, and in return, better able to understand what others are really feeling and really saying to you. You see, communicating with people our own age, or who have similar educational backgrounds, incomes, professions, or beliefs, is a relatively easy process. But what about the two people who are, to all outward appearances, radically different? A teenager and a 40-year-old father, a high school dropout and a college professor, a successful lawyer and an unemployed auto worker. Now the real challenges of communication begin to manifest themselves. But they are challenges that using a journal can help us overcome. You see, regardless of the differences in our outer worlds, inside human beings are all basically alike. We've all known sorrow, maybe not from the same event, but we've all experienced the emotion. We've all known the joy of achievement, perhaps in different circumstances, but certainly the same feeling. Regardless of our outward differences, those basic human needs and emotions will always provide a common ground or build a bridge for effective human communications. You see, by the time we have reached adulthood, most of us have experienced almost every aspect of the human drama in one form or another. The problem is that most of the experiences have gone right on by us. We have never taken the time to capture them, to ponder them, to analyze how we felt at that time, how we responded to others while we were in those circumstances, or what our priorities and needs were during that period in our lives. Suppose, however, that you took the time to capture the events and happenings of your life on purpose with paper and pen, so that you always had a wealth of experiences from which to draw. Imagine now what an incredible impact this awareness could have on your life. How it could help to bridge the gap between you and your children, your clients, your associates, your neighbors. You see, if you will but take the time to capture how it is for you at any given point in your life, then you will always be in a position to relate to how it might be for someone else at this moment in their lives. The situations might be different, but the basic needs and emotions never are. We don't have to dress alike or go to the same schools or be the same age or sex to feel the same way. Use your journal then as a textbook for life. Use it to capture the full range of human emotions that you continuously gather from your experiences. I promise you that if you will take just a little time to capture your experiences, the end result will more than repay you for the time you invest. Now, there are many ways to assemble the data in your journal for easy reference. For example, you might find it helpful to keep an index at the back of each volume so that you merely list the highlights of your entries so that your index might read like this: Financial Ideas, pages 5, 53, 96, and 104. Or, Ideas for Increasing Company Efficiency, pages 46, 82, and 111. At one time, I used to keep 3 journals, one for personal observations, one for business notations, and a third for creative ideas for a book I was writing. Of course, it didn't take me long to discard that system. Carrying 3 journals around the world is no easy task. Then I tried using 3 colors of ink in the same journal, so that at a glance I could focus on any one of the 3 areas. While it was certainly easier carrying 3 pens than 3 journals, it was still somewhat of a cumbersome system. When the ideas are flowing fast and furious, you don't always have the time to search for a red, a green, or a blue pen. The method I finally settled on was setting aside certain sections of my journal for specific uses. For example, at the back of my journals I have a separate section for recording my goals, for listing interesting quotes, and for thoughts on new speech material. Perhaps you may want to set aside part of your journal for specific ongoing projects or interests that you feel might warrant a section of their own. Choose one of these methods or devise a new one, but make sure you set up some kind of system. Remember, failure more often than not is attributable to lack of information about how to succeed. Each of us has the capacity to seek out the information we require to achieve our goals. Unfortunately, we do not all have the discipline required to gather the data systematically so that the raw material is easily accessible and ready to be put into practical use the moment opportunity presents itself. How sad it would be if opportunity came knocking on your door, but you had to keep him waiting while you rummaged through drawers and files for the key. Undoubtedly, by the time most people have finally located the key, opportunity has long since become impatient and gone on to knock on the door of someone else. Next, by taking the time to capture and assemble information in our journals, we now have the added benefit of being able to review these ideas whenever we wish. You don't have to run back to the library to reread the book you borrowed last year, or call a friend on the phone and try to reconstruct the conversation you had last month. If you've captured the essence of the conversation or the highlights of the book in your journal, it will always be there for you to refer to. And here is the key point. For your journals to have their greatest value, they must be frequently reviewed. You see, writing in journals is merely a way of capturing information, but it is by rereading our journals that we begin the process of translating information into practical knowledge about ourselves, our environment, our relationships, our businesses, our financial affairs, our dreams, and our own better future. I would strongly urge you to set aside a day each week, or at the very least each month, to review your recent entries. And then once a year, take all of your journals off the shelf and read them from cover to cover. What you read will probably make an incredible story of personal growth. You see, more than anything else, a journal is a place to document the development of your own life. It is a textbook of self-discovery and self-awareness. Feel free to say it all. These are your private collections, your personal recollections. They are not going to be read aloud at the next staff meeting, used in court against you, or published in the New York Times. Write freely. Don't let anything inhibit your flow of your thoughts. Write in half sentences. Break all the rules of grammar and punctuation if you choose. Draw pictures. Make diagrams. Anything goes. Neatness doesn't count, and neither does spelling. This is one place where you should feel free to say it all, and say it as you wish. By the way, if you feel uncomfortable abandoning the rules of your 8th grade English teacher, then this too should tell you something about yourself. Hey, you are even free to do the worst thing of all. Use somebody else's words. Glue in newspaper articles, cartoons, quotes, whatever you wish. No one is going to give you an F for plagiarism in your journal. There is only one suggestion I would offer concerning the format of your journal, and that is to record the date, time, and location of each entry. Not only will this provide you with a means of measuring your progress, your growth trends, the different phases of your life, and your changing attitudes, but where and when you write can in themselves provide interesting revelations. A man wrote to me several months ago to share such a discovery he made from his journals. It seems that in reviewing his writings of the past year, he had noticed a definite negative pattern emerging. Every entry on a Wednesday afternoon or evening outlined thoughts of self-doubt, discouragement, and uncertainty about the direction he was headed in. It did not take long for him to track down the source of those defeating thoughts. Wednesday was the day when he had lunch with 2 colleagues from his former place of employment. To test the validity of his theory, he flipped back to the Wednesdays when, due to illness, vacations, or business matters, the luncheons had not taken place, and sure enough, there were no negative entries on those particular days. Having reached the conclusion that these luncheons were costing him far more than the price of the meal, it did not take him long to take the necessary steps to solve the dilemma. Others have discovered such interesting tendencies as writing about personal concerns while at the office and business matters at home, or feeling particularly inspired and eager before leaving for the office in the morning, and completely exhausted and enervated by 10 a.m. Remember, everything affects everything else. Your environment, your associations, your family, your friends, even your occupation has an effect on you. So, too, do the books you read, the television programs you watch, and the conversation you engage in. But influencers are often very subtle, making it difficult to detect the effect they are having until the damage is done. Like tiny little holes in a tire which can go undetected for hundreds of miles, the little pinpricks of subtle negative influences will eventually leave you just as deflated after a while. Your journal then becomes like a photograph album, capturing moments in your life. The only difference is that a photograph album, kept for many years, reveals physical changes in yourself and your environment, while journals over a period of time reflect mental changes within yourself and about your environment.